Hello, mortgage coaches. In today's training, we're going to be going over the best practices for using the simple Nexus integration with Mortgage Coach and how you can interact with the files. So on the right side here, this is actually the simple Nexus app, and you can see that my borrower is just about done. They're about ready to submit the loan app. But one thing I want to draw your attention to is even before they hit the submit button, if they've just put in their first and last name and they've verified their email address on the simple Nexus app, you're actually going to get an automated presentation created in your Mortgage Coach account. So under the automated tab, you will see a new file in there. It'll have a little blue dot next to it indicating you haven't interacted with it yet. And it'll be named after your borrower. It's going to have very limited data in there right now. So there's not a whole lot that it's collecting through the loan submission app. So you're actually going to be building out the scenarios there. But to give you an idea of what the borrower experience looks like at this point, when they get through the app here and they hit Submit Loan App, it's going to confirm that they've done so. And then it says, thank you, we'll be back in touch. Now, if they go back to the home screen, you notice that it's still just the regular app here, but the next time they log in, or if they do a pull down refresh, it's actually going to show a Mortgage Coach analysis button. Now, by default, when these come into your app, they're going to be in a pending state, so that when the borrower taps on this, because there's no information in the loan products yet, when the borrower taps on this, they're actually going to get this version of the presentation that just lets them know that this is almost ready for them. It's not quite complete. So you see, excuse us, we need a little more time. It'll have your default video there that talks about what you're doing, has your contact information there so the borrower can get in contact with you. But they can't actually see the full total cost analysis yet because it came in as this pending analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that part and just get back to the simple Nexus app. And I'm going to show you what you do as an originator. So when one of these comes in and you get an automated number here that's showing up and it's telling you that there's a new one from Simple Nexus, you want to open this up. And I'm going to move my mobile phone out of the way for just a moment here. You want to open this up and you'll notice that it brings in some basic details. The first and last name, it'll bring in any contact information that they've put in there, the mailing address and so forth. And it'll identify the goal. In this case, it was a purchase. And then when you get to the loan app, you can see that it actually shows what they chose. So in this case, they chose a $500,000 purchase price with a 20% down payment. Now, it doesn't ask them for anything more than that. So at this point, it's up to you to build out these loan scenarios. Now, you can do them a number of different ways. You can come in here and do it by hand, where you come in and just enter the rate and term and then apply your closing costs and monthly costs. Or you can actually use a product template to lay it over the top if you'd like. For today, I'm going to show you how to just basically fill this out. So I'm going to come in here and I'll enter my term. It's going to be a 30-year note. And if you've got the Optimal Blue integration, you can reach out and get pricing here. So I'm going to go ahead and get pricing. And you can see it's just going to ask you for some basic details here that might not otherwise be in the file. Oops, let's go to Los Angeles. All right, perfect. And then I hit next, and then this is going to show me the available pricing options at the loan parameters I specified. And you can see it looks like right here this, oh, actually we can get them a really good Fannie Mae standard at 2.875. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now when you do that, it brings back the rate into the rate field here. And you'll notice when you get into the closing costs area, it actually even shows the rebate in the points field. So there's that rebate that was a part of choosing this particular rate. Now most of you don't have your fees in Optimal Blue. So basically what you're going to want to do is when you come in here to the fee section, you can either use your Closing Corp integration to go grab your fees, or if you have Lodestar or one of the other fee providers that we integrate with, or you can use one of your templates. I highly advise use your templates if you don't have the integrations. Just pull down one of these templates, make any modifications as you see fit, and then apply it to the loan. So now I've got my basic loan details, I've got my closing costs. Now it's time to go over to my monthly costs. And I'm just going to use some default ratios here. And then no MI on this one because it is a 20% down. Also means I'm not going to need any reserves. But I'm going to need to add another product. Now before I do that, remember your borrower this entire time they're still getting this pending analysis. So I'm going to show you where they can convert to a to a full analysis a little bit later down the line. But I want you to be aware that even as you're going through this, because you haven't triggered it to be ready for the borrower yet, if the borrower came back into this file, they're still going to get your pending screen. All right, so back in here, let's give this another product. So I'm going to add another product, and maybe I want to show them a 15-year fixed. And I'll come in and I'm actually just going to copy the first product, that Fannie Mae 30. And then I'm going to modify I'm actually going to pull out the rate and modify my term. And then I'm going to reach out for pricing on this one. Now it kept all my variables in here, so I don't need to really change much. Just go ahead and hit next. And you can see that these ones are my 15-year options. So I'm going to choose the best one with the best rebate. It looks like that guy right there is probably pretty good. So I'll hit OK. Now it brought in my rate for me. When I go to the closing costs, because I use the copy button to copy my first product, all my closing cost details are already in there. So I don't need to do anything in here. You can see my rebate came across as negative points here. And because I use the copy function, my monthly cost came across as well. Now this presentation is just about ready for my borrower at this point. I just need to fine tune it, change my metrics to whatever I want to show, put a property appreciation if I do want to use that, but you could certainly use the defaults here. And then when we get to the very end of it, if you want to add any additional notes about this, you can use the welcome message or the payment notes field. Finally, we get to the very end. Now this is the most important part for Simple Nexus interaction. You notice that this flag here is unchecked that says this presentation is ready for my borrower. That's why the borrower is getting that pending phase. So what we want to do is we want to say, yes, this is ready for my borrower. And one thing about Simple Nexus is that as this record goes through your loan origination software and it continues to get updated, Simple Nexus by default will update the loan parameters on the first product here. Now, if you don't want that loan product to get continuously updated by the LOS, you want to keep this as a static presentation for your borrower, click on this Prevent Borrower Edits checkbox. This will stop the LOS from updating this record so it won't overwrite your first product. Very important here. 2 checkboxes that can make a huge difference on your Simple Nexus interactions. Now, also make sure to add a quote date on it. Anytime you're doing it, any kind of an analysis with a rate, you want to make sure to tie it to a quote date. And normally you would hit Generate Link here and send the link over to your borrower. But you don't actually even need to do that. At this point, because you've been working on the same analysis that is already in your borrower's Simple Nexus app, and you marked it as, yes, this is ready for my borrower, if the borrower comes in and taps on the Mortgage Coach Analysis button this time, they're actually going to get the full presentation. So you can see they get the disclosure here, they hit accept, and then they can scroll down and they'll see these 2 options that you put together for them. There's my 30-year option and my 15-year option. So very simple. You didn't have to share this with the borrower. It's already lodged in their Simple Nexus app because they started the presentation in their Simple Nexus app. But probably the most important interactions here is make sure you're aware of how these checkboxes work, whether it's in a pending state or whether you want to stop the presentation from continuing to be updated by the LOS as the transaction proceeds forward. So hopefully this helps. Let us know if you have any questions about this. Email support@mortgagecoach.com and we would be happy to help. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.